Welcome to the newest video. I'm Matt Stabile of theexpeditioner.com. This is The Expeditioner Presents. That's the title I've decided on. I don't care if you don't like it. I'm going with that, for now at least. Today I have with me Mickela Mallozzi of Travel Bare Feet. She is an awesome friend. I'm really glad that she's here. If you want more information, go to @TravelBareFeet.
Yes.
And you can Google her, find her on YouTube, everything, Travel Bare Feet. Mickela Mallozzi. We're going to be talking about dancing and travel and Puerto Rico. I don't know what we're not going to cover today. What we are also going to cover is the show I saw last night, and I thought it was kind of relevant to you because it involves dancing. Probably not the kind that you're used to or have personal experience with, but I saw Showgirls the musical, which is only a New York thing. Maybe it'll be moving elsewhere.
I can't believe it exists. That's the crazy thing, that Showgirls, the musical, is there.
Yeah, so, yeah, thank God. So the interesting part about it is Showgirls itself. I mean, I saw this movie in 1994 when it first came out, directed by, esteemed director Paul Verhoeven, and it was starring Elizabeth Berkley. I mean, it's Saved by the Bell. I mean, that's my bag. I watch Saved by the Bell all the time. I watched all of their, different outlets after they graduated from Bayside. And, I watched it then and it kind of fell off my radar. I don't remember a second of that movie. But the movie itself has kind of taken on this other life form and it's gotten this really cult following.
Yeah. I used to work in a bar actually in college and we used to play it in the background without sound. So I've never seen the film with sound, but it may be better that way actually. Yeah, probably, but visually, I can never forget some of the scenes in that film.
A couple of the scenes, So the show, it's interesting because it's taken on a certain cult status, and it's taken a status in mainly the gay community. It's up there now with like Grey Gardens or Rocky Horror.
Oh, I didn't know that.
But it's kind of taken on a status too of a cult icon like Big Lebowski has or something. So it was interesting. There's a lot of nudity, but it's very campy. Like it's really, really fun show. They don't take it seriously at all. And naturally, for research purposes for this video, I downloaded the movie last night.
Obviously.
To watch it again. Because I was like, all right, there's a lot of inside references. And what I kind of realized after Googling it as well is that Showgirls itself is kind of a great send-up of Hollywood. Like there's a lot of meaning to that movie. And I think that's why it's kind of endured more. I think that's why a lot of these cult flicks do. Because it's about more than just breasts and Elizabeth Berkley. It's actually kind of this metaphor for chauvinism, women in Hollywood, gender roles in general in society. It's 1994. There's some transition going on. So it's actually like a pretty fascinating movie and maybe a little underrated. So if it comes to your town, probably don't take your parents. Wouldn't take anybody.
Don't take go alone.
Don't take anybody, period. Yeah, just go alone with sunglasses. But you might actually enjoy it. But the question I had for you, you're a dancer.
So we're getting back to dance.
You're right. So is this something, I've never pole danced. Like, is this a difficult form of dance?
It is. It's actually really, really hard. It takes a lot of inner thigh strength and arm strength. I've taken a pole dance class at Crunch Gym in New York and all around the city. They have pole dancing classes, and it is a workout. And it's not only a workout, but you leave completely bruised. Every inch of your legs is covered in bruises, which I've been told by the instructors that they eventually go away once you start taking the classes more often.
One builds up inner thigh calluses?
Pretty much.
Yeah, there's probably only a couple industries where that happens. So today we are going to talk about your site, Travel Bare Feet. Tell me about it. Why did you start it? What is it? I want to hear more.
Sure. So Bare Feet is a travel dance web series where I travel around the world learning the cultural dance and music from every place I visit. And I started it back in 2010. It originally started as a blog, which evolved into a web series. And I did it because that's what I was doing when I was traveling anyway. I worked in the music industry. I had a corporate job, and then eventually started dancing full-time. I'm a full-time dance teacher in the city. And when I would travel, I would go to find holidays, celebrations, festivals, and go up to a complete stranger and say, show me what you're doing, which was great because if you can't speak the language, you can still interact with people and connect with them on a different level without having to actually speak with them. So I was so inspired by this feeling every time I got to meet someone and dance with people that I wanted to make it my career to combine dance and travel together for bare feet, and that's where we are now.
Yeah, it's interesting. I mean, dance is probably one of those three things that really defines a culture. You know, it's basically up there with language and food, and a lot of people have explored food as a means to discovering the culture, or explored the language, or maybe architecture is another one up there. But dance is kind of this area that people really haven't explored yet. But it does represent so much of a culture. I mean, you see one dance from a part of the world, you know exactly where it's from. I mean, there's very few things that are indicators of a culture like that.
Exactly. So. And I think the one thing about dance, why it hasn't been tapped into so much, is people are intimidated by dance. When actually these are folk dances that people do every day in these countries. So just let your guard down, and approaching someone to dance with them is actually a very great way to connect with someone.
Right. Yeah. And they're also accessible. I mean, there's a reason they're popular in that culture, is that everyone should be able to take part.
Exactly.
So we were both in Puerto Rico recently, so I wanted to talk about that a bit. Sure. Obviously, Puerto Rico has some pretty good dancers there and styles there. So what were you doing in Puerto Rico? And for somebody who hasn't been there before, has kind of done some of those lame sitting on the beach trips, what are some tips you have for travel to Puerto Rico? So
Puerto Rico is great because when you think of Puerto Rico, you think of salsa, and that's what I thought of. I went there expecting to just salsa my butt off the whole time, and in actuality I found this fantastic dance called Bomba, which is the African influenced dance, and it comes from an area called Louisa. So some great things to do while you're there. First is go to Old San Juan. I know it's very cliche, but besides Señor Frogs, you have some incredible local clubs, local places to dance. So there's one place I love called the New Yorican Cafe. It means New Yorican, someone from New York. Because actually salsa also originated from expats in New York. At about 11 o'clock starts the salsa dancing. There are salsa orchestras, bands. But if you go there earlier, let's say around 9, you'll see bomba bands, and they're families that play, and the locals are there early. Nice. So get there early, have an early dinner, get there early, and you'll get a good seat. And what I did was I met these amazing women who were dancing, and I asked them, same thing, I don't speak Spanish, for them to show me how to dance, and I was dancing right with these live drummers. It was amazing, absolutely amazing. So that's the New Yorican Cafe. It's right in the heart of Old San Juan. Really easy. And then at night, tourists come, so it's a nice mix of tourists and locals. So the second thing I'd recommend is going to Piñones. Piñones is an area of Louisa, and if you feel comfortable enough, if you have a friend or you're going with a local, I was the only non-Puerto Rican at this place. It's called El Balcón de Zumbador, which is like right on the beach. They have not only dancing and live music, but it's a bar, they have pool, people are playing dominoes. I mean, it's super local, super cheap beers, and really fun people. I was dancing with a 17-year-old kid, dancing also with an 85-year-old old man. It was amazing. Nice. Absolutely amazing.
Dancing, dominoes, and cheap beer. That's like my Friday night. And what's the third recommendation you have?
I would say if you are anywhere, especially in Puerto Rico, but anywhere you go, in Puerto Rico, the best way to get around is via taxi. So ask your taxi driver where they go dancing. Ask them where they eat, ask them what they do, because they're not going to go to the cheesy, touristy spots. They're going to go where their friends go and where the locals go. So just ask your driver, ask someone who works in the hotel, ask them where they hang out and go there.
One tip I had, which is I always try to encourage people to get outside of the beaten path, so to speak. And, you know, a lot of people spend a lot of time in San Juan. But one thing I discovered when I was there last year was the islands near San Juan, near Puerto Rico. I mean, Puerto Rico is an island, but there's some really good islands right off the eastern coastline. So when I was there, I went to the local airport, not the international airport, and you can take flights there, and it's basically about $100. There's a couple airliners. One is called Air Flamenco, and one is, I believe, called Vieques Air, and they fly for, you know, it's a 30-minute flight, and they go to two islands, Vieques and Culebra. And they're these small little islands right off the eastern end of Puerto Rico. I went to Culebra, and it's this amazing small island. There's maybe, you know, a couple thousand people that live there. And in the ocean, or in the Caribbean, it's actually halfway between Puerto Rico and the American Virgin Islands. Yeah. So you're like really kind of in another country, but you're still considered in Puerto Rico. You land there after, like I said, a 30-minute drive, flight. And you actually, you can either take a bike around the island, it's that small. You can get a Jeep. You can even walk, it's that accessible. On that island is a beach called Flamenco Beach, and if you Google it, Flamenco is always on that list of the top 10 beaches in the Caribbean.
Wow.
And it's an amazing, amazing beach. It's this giant bay looking over the Caribbean. It's really quiet and peaceful, and there's not a lot of people there. I really recommend that. And one thing I did was I went to that beach, and there was like more than 10 people there, so I was like, all right, I gotta get out of here. I'm gonna find a better beach. So then I asked one of the local vendors, and he said, yeah, go hike over this hill, and you'll find another beach. And that was called, I wrote it down, Carlos Rosario Beach. And if you hike over the hill, you'll find this totally desolate beach. There's nobody there, and you can rent snorkel gear. You can go snorkeling there. I did that. I didn't have any sunscreen on, and I was with nobody, so I'm like in the water the entire time, and my back is sticking out. I came out with like the worst sunburn ever. I also got out of the water, and I saw a sign saying, don't touch anything, because there might be old mines or bombs in the water, because that and Vieques were old bombing sites for the American. But despite that,
you're here.
yeah, it's totally safe. You can totally be fine there, but I recommend that. Travel Bare Feet, what's next for you?
With Travel Bare Feet, we're starting to offer Bare Feet tours, where I'm working with companies to create itineraries based on the videos. So you can come travel with me, or go to Puglia, Italy, where you learn La Pizzica, you're learning traditional dance. In Puerto Rico, we're doing a tour with a company called Open Sky Expeditions, where it's a 4-day sort of long weekend where you can do bomba, plena, salsa, all this amazing stuff. And then in April in 2014, we are doing a trip to Bali, Indonesia with a company called Floating Leaf Eco Retreat, which is going to be incredible. It's 10 days, beautiful, beautiful, learning Balinese dance, and cooking the food, surfing, learning the music, going to villages. It's going to be incredible. And so more and more tours are popping up, and it's just experiencing dance and music for you, not just for me.
Okay. If I want to do that trip, how do I get more information?
Go to travelbarefeet.com and look under the Bare Feet Tours, and we're there.
Great. Yeah. Okay. And if I want to get more information, go to @travelbarefeet. Follow all your updates. If you want to follow mine, it's @theexpeditioner. This is a YouTube channel, so subscribe. I think I have the box right above me now. Subscribe. We're going to have new videos every week, and you can check out theexpeditioner.com. Thanks again. I'm Matt Stabile for The Expeditioner Presents.